How's it going, everyone? In this video we are going to get this thing started and we're going to get moving under its own power. So we're going to be doing a lot of the smaller things here. I got to get this radiator hose dealt with here, heater core lines, this fan wiring stuff, and the exhaust. So what I have built for the exhaust already is this piece, this crazy looking. This is like the hardest thing to make in this whole build, it seemed like, because it's just a lot of different bends. It takes a while to make it, at least. Doesn't look too bad, but I mean, it could always be better. I've never done that before, but it looks kind of cool. This is for the driver's side exhaust. I have to drill out a hole for an O2 sensor somewhere over here. And the last things I need to do is, of course, finish the exhaust, and then I need to do the transcooler lines and the shifter linkage, because I want to use the stock shifter, so it's gonna take some cutting and a little bit of ingenuity. The Montero is very close to starting now. Actually, it's very close to driving. Of course, in the last video, I told you guys that there's a little mix-up with the front drive shaft. I'm still waiting on that. It's been about a week since I've sent that out. But this is what we're working with here. I got the serpentine belt on there already. The intake is good to go. You guys saw that. I cleaned up a whole lot of the wiring here. So now it's just fan wiring sitting here. And I got a lot of it ran into the car. I'm charging the battery right now because I had a little problem with the alternator was sapping some power. So I got to get that sorted. The trans lines are all nice and put together. I got to put a hose clamp there. And once the radiator goes in, I can hook up the last two lines that go in there. This is something I thought was pretty cool. Since I got all those wires squared away, I was able to clean up this portion of the car. I had all of this taken out because I needed to put in the brake switch. So if you listen here, you can hear the relay click when I press the brake. So you can hear that click, which is good. That means it's working. And a pretty cool little thing I did here with the OBD2. You open up this little compartment that is there for no reason, and you got it right in there. It's diagonal because I thought it would fit a little better, but it didn't. But either way, you can't see it and you don't know what's there. I got this shifter linkage kind of working okay. I didn't have to modify anything inside the car to make the shifting work. All I did was make a little bracket down by the transmission to mount the cable and everything. Whoa! There's a wasp in here. Weird. Alright, so you guys can... Let me get the key in here. I do have a little problem with it going into first, but it still does it. So here we go. We're in park, reverse, neutral, drive, and then the 4L60 has 3, 2, 1 after drive. So 3, 2, 1. So that's 1, but it doesn't like to move again. It's pretty hard to push forward. But that is all in the linkage down below. I'll show you guys that in a second. Here is the shifter linkage I got going. So it's a Chevy. I use this little part right here. It goes onto the Chevy shifter shaft thing here, and I just cut it and welded this piece of flat stock to it and drilled a hole right here for the stock Montero shifter thing. A lot of things going on there, but it's not too hard. This piece right here is the stock 4L60E. This is where the Suburban linkage and cable mounts. So I just use that. This is a piece of 1x2 I kind of used as a spacer, and then I just chopped up the Montero cable thing here, and it spaced it out pretty well, so it's parallel with everything. The problem I'm running into is that when the shifter, when it does shift all the way into first, this top is all the way flat. It's basically flat with the ground, which makes it really hard for the cable to pull it back. I'm not quite sure how I'm gonna mess with that yet, but it's all right for now. I don't have to put it. It still goes in and out of first. It's just a little pain. Here's my exhaust. I just cut that bung off of the Suburban collector and welded it on there. That's what's nice about having a parts car, is I just used a whole bunch of stuff from it. And then you see this crossover. This is where the drive shaft goes, right in between here, but I don't have it yet. And then it goes into a Montero flange, and then back out. This is all Montero right here, and it goes and spins around, right? So it spins around here under the transmission into the Y pipe. This Y pipe came from the Suburban, and normally in the Suburbans it's one next to the other, so it's flat like this, but I put it one on top of the other because it just fit better, and I was trying to get it as far away from these trans lines as possible. Those aren't all tied up yet, but they'll be pretty far away from it. The top one is pretty simple. It's just a little, I don't know, 9-inch, 10-inch piece of exhaust tubing welded in there, and that fit perfect. Yeah, this whole exhaust kind of just turned out to be a full assortment of different sizes and stuff. It's probably not optimal for power, but it works, and it was completely free because I just used some Montero parts and some of the Suburban parts, which is cool. So this whole collector and all that thing, I think it necks down to like a 2.5 or 2.25 inch, something like that. And then once it goes to the Y pipe and comes out of the Y pipe, it's all 3-inch. So it's 3-inch all the way down. You can see I need to still weld a flange there and there to bolt those up and have it all the way out the back. This four-wheel drive turned out to be pretty interesting. I'll probably make a separate video on how I made the NP246 work and go into 4-low and stuff. But it was just it took a lot of looking at wiring schematics and all that stuff to make it work. But it works. So let me show you guys. So I turned it to key on. You see it lights up a little bit. You hear the fuel pump and all that stuff works. In park, see, you're able to go into 4 high. The reason it's flashing is because I don't have a front axle actuator hooked up or anything, so it's just going to flash forever, which is kind of annoying. But it won't go into 4 low if it's in park. So it's in park right now. It will just revert back to 4 high. But if I put it in neutral, so I'm going to press the brake. If I put it in neutral, we got reverse, neutral. Now it should go right into 4 low. So there it went into 4 low. And then at this point I would just have to go outside and lock my hubs, and we'd have 4-wheel drive, which is awesome. And it can go back into 2 high. You can hear that the motor down there clicking and stuff. And I actually hid, there's a lot of wires up here on top of this air duct. The whole transfer case computer is above there, and it actually all turned out pretty well. You can barely see it. Nobody's really going to look back in here anyways, except for that neon yellow zip tie. You wouldn't even know it's there in some of those orange wires, but I can tuck that back in there. It actually turned out pretty nice because it all works. Yesterday I got a few things done. So I got the transcooler lines all, in there working. Just zip tied this up, and down here I have my radiator hose, my upper radiator hose that goes up, and I have this little coupler thing I made for the steam line to go into. So it's really just a galvanized pipe with a welded nut on it. Of course you want to grind down all the galvanization you can and then weld it on there, and it's all good. And yeah, that just goes up to the throttle body and it goes through there. Yeah, so both the radiator lines are done. There's one down there too. The belt's on there. Power steering is all hooked up. I need to put a little more fluid in it because I had a blowout. It exploded because I forgot one hose clamp. ECU I think is actually going to be like this. It's a little, oh, there went my grill. But I think it's going to be like that, and I'll make a plate for it to sit in there. But for first drive and everything, I don't think it needs to be there. I also got the interior mostly back together. I haven't put this in yet just because I don't need it. Now this is the rear locker on this thing. I'm going to have to figure out. This needs a 4-low signal or a 4-high lock. One of those 4-wheel drive signals for it to work. So right now it's not working. So I think I'm just going to have to do some trickery with that, just like I did with the neutral safety, even though that was a lot easier. I have to find what wires either get power or some sort of signal that connects to this rear diff lock. And that's just going to be a whole lot of looking at diagrams again. I'm not really looking forward to, but I don't need that to drive it first time or the second time or the third time. So I'm just getting to the fan wiring now. All this stuff goes down there. Probably would have been easier to just get a pigtail for the F body just to plug in and then wire these two wires to it. But I didn't feel like trying to find one or ordering anything else because it takes forever. So what I'm doing is getting these terminals right. Now the problem I was running into is that these are the ground and the positive are right next to each other. What I did is I slide a piece of shrink tubing over this terminal part, and that on both of them, so it seals it. So this is what it looks like with the shrink tubing on it. It's nice and tight on there, and it's not coming off. I've got everything together now. The bumper's on, the everything's ready. The wiring's all in there. The core support's in, the hood latch. It's all ready to go. I'm just waiting on a front drive shaft. That's it. And I got my fan wiring in here. This is the fan wiring. It goes down to the fans, of course. Like I said, just waiting on the front drive shaft, and she'll be ready to go. I'm gonna do the exhaust right now. It's just gonna be a straight pipe with one cat. I have one cat in line, but that's it. Should sound pretty good. Just got to get welding on that, and we'll be golden. Didn't mount the ECU yet. I'll probably just zip tie it somewhere for now. Got to fill up some ATF in here once I get the drive shaft. What's up, guys? Just got the exhaust all welded in. It's basically a straight pipe. It's got one cat in it from the header's back, or the manifold's back, just one cat, and it's gonna sound pretty good. Here we are. So you guys can see there's my collector, my white pipe, and then underneath you can see my crossover pipe to the collector over. That's a cat right there. Cat is pretty close to the original spot, but you don't get it so close. It's really tucked up against this firewall here, which is good, or the actual body. It's got some space because this is where the big muffler went before. Straight all the way out, and then a few pieces in. Got my hanger back there, and then routes out the back. Now from the Y pipe, where those collectors are, all the way back, it's all Suburban exhaust. So all of this is the Suburban cat, all Suburban all the way to the back. The only thing that's not Suburban is that rubber mount up there. That's Montero one. I just adapted it. Works good. It's gonna sound real nice, I think. Got the ECU mounted right over here. It's on a nice and bendy mount, so it doesn't catch too much rattling. I really like it. It's in a pretty good spot. I could probably make a shield for it. I don't even know if I'll need to. It's a good foot or so away from the exhaust, and I think that's plenty. I'm going to clean up a little bit of this wiring here. I just mounted it. It's a very, very simple mount. It's kind of like clamps it. Yeah, so it clamps it there, clamps it down there, and it actually bolts onto the ABS, this whole ABS unit. There's a nut down there with a stud on it, and I was able to mount it right to that, which is awesome. You guys can kind of see. Yep, turned out pretty good. And I'll probably paint it, but not right now. The wiring is most of the way. I mean, it's all tucked in. This thing's ready to go, apart from the front drive shaft. That is all I'm waiting on. Everything's heater core lines turned out really nice. Well, they were like 4 feet long, but it works. I'm probably gonna wrap this up, these wires up. This is my ignition, so I kind of need that one. This is fuel pump, I think. I'm just gonna see if I can stuff it into this loom and see how it looks. Finally got the front drive shaft. You can't see it, but we're gonna start it up and see if it moves. I'm very nervous. Alright guys, that is going to be it for this video. Stay tuned for the next couple videos about it. I'm probably going to do a walk around and maybe some like detailed stuff that if you guys ask questions I might make a video on it or something like that. But for now, it's pretty much done. Like I said, the front main seal leaks a little bit, unfortunately. When I was putting on the harmonic balancer, I kinked it a little bit. It leaks very slowly, so I'm still going to drive it around. It's got about 75 miles on it so far. Nothing's gone wrong apart from that very slow oil leak. And I'll probably make some videos of me off-roading it and you know, just driving it fast on some dirt roads so you guys can see the power difference and maybe 0 to 60 or something like that. But yeah, stay tuned for those videos and I'll see you guys in the next one.